WHO praising China for not reporting the outbreak at the earliest, for fibbing, for playing a blame game, for exporting this virus to the world. We are not sure. And now there is a big question mark over his credibility. Since the beginning of this outbreak, he has defended China. Not just defended, he even praised China. Is he blind to China's follies? Or is he turning a blind eye to China's actions? The WHO is now being called the Wuhan Health Organization. I'm sure they're aware of how they're being slammed the world over, and yet they do not course correct. Do you wonder why? Why is the WHO so helpless? Why is Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus towing China's line? January 14, the WHO said that preliminary investigations conducted by the Chinese authorities have found no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission of the novel coronavirus. They bought China's word for it. And they did so when, in fact, just 12 days back, 41 patients had been admitted to a hospital in Wuhan. 14 of them had no direct exposure to the Hunan seafood market. That is 44% of the total cases. If this isn't human-to-human transmission, what is? 6 months of the Wuhan virus outbreak, and for 6 months, we've been saying one thing. China hid information, China lied, China delayed, China misled the world and the World Health Organization. Well, finally, there's an admission. WHO officials saying that China sat on crucial data and delayed the world's response. In so many words. The World Health Organization was quote-unquote helpless and frustrated, weren't we all? Now here is proof of China not sharing information, even after repeated demands. An Associated Press report has exposed China's criminal negligence and cover-up, and this is our cover story tonight. This is based on internal recordings of the WHO. They feature the officials who were in charge of handling the response to the Wuhan virus. These recordings are from the early and critical days of the outbreak in China, and they reveal just how helpless World Health Organization officials were before Beijing. Let me take you through some of the recordings. The first quote is from Maria van Kerkhove, an epidemiologist. She is now the WHO's technical lead for COVID-19, and here is what she reported internally. I'm quoting. We are going on very minimal information. It is clearly not enough for you to do proper planning. This statement is believed to have been made in early January, and this was a critical phase. This was said in an internal meeting of the World Health Organization. We have more, and I'm quoting again. We are currently at the state where, yes, they're giving it to us 15 minutes before it appears on CCTV. CCTV is China's state broadcaster, and the statement was made by Dr. Gordon Gallia, the WHO's top official in China. These internal recordings confirm two things. One, that China was not sharing the complete information about the pandemic. When it did share, it was hopelessly slow. And two, there was an internal debate within the World Health Organization over China, over how to deal with Beijing. And the next set of recordings reveal exactly that. In the second week of January, the WHO's chief of emergencies, Dr. Michael Ryan, stepped in. The man you've often seen in press conferences. He sits with the WHO Director General, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, our favorite interviewee of the future. We are yet to hear from him. But coming back to Dr. Michael Ryan, this is what he told his colleagues. He said it's time to quote-unquote shift gears and apply more pressure on China. This is exactly the same scenario, endlessly trying to get updates from China about what was going on. Dr. Ryan here is referring to the SARS outbreak in 2002 that had killed nearly 800 people worldwide. He goes on, and I'm quoting again, the WHO barely got out of that one with its neck intact, given the issues that arose around transparency in southern China. What a deja vu moment for the World Health Organization, and this is incriminating evidence. Top officials at the World Health Organization were ringing alarm bells, and China sat on information. Dr. Ryan made these statements in the second week of January. What happened next? His boss, Dr. Tedros, traveled to Beijing. He met with President Xi Jinping, and he gave China a pat on its back. Glowing praise for its response. In Beijing, Dr. Tedros complimented the Chinese regime, and when he returned, Dr. Tedros said that he was impressed with Xi Jinping's response. His team clearly wasn't. They were raising concerns repeatedly. They repeatedly said that China is not sharing information. Dr. Tedros would have none of it. He could have pushed for transparency. He did not. He could have at least expressed the concerns. Instead, he chose to side with the Chinese and parrot China's narrative by repeatedly praising it in front of the press. How does the WHO explain this? The AP report has an interesting justification. Apparently, they were trying to coax more information from China by lauding it in public. If this was a strategy, it's proved to be disastrous. And I'm not exaggerating. Look at where it has brought the world. More than 180 countries and regions are now infected by the Wuhan virus. There are more than 60 lakh confirmed cases worldwide, more than 3,76,000 deaths. China lied, people died, and the WHO stood with its tongue tied.